How's it going, y'all? My name's Caravan Dan. I run the Gaming Caravan, and today we're going to talk about things that sell your game that you might not understand or even be conscious of. Let me tell you first about what I do. I run Gaming Caravan. Gaming Caravan is a community and marketing system in the tabletop industry specifically. And to gather my data, I do monthly giveaways. All I say is, hey, we're giving away like Wormspan for free. If you want, fill out our survey. You'll be entered for a chance to win. We get between 100 to 300 applicants every single time we do a giveaway. It used to be monthly, but now we're focusing more on accumulating data to help people that need to sell their board games, whether there be publishers or even designers to sell it to publishers. Keep in mind, your game is a product. If you're trying to pitch it to a publisher, you are now trying to sell a product, even if that product might be yourself. If you want to see a form that we're doing right now, go to the description of this video. It'll take you to the monthly board game giveaway. We're giving away a copy of Rolling Realms Redux for a survey that takes about 2 minutes. If you also want more information like this, also more advertising, promotion for a game at affordable and pretty discounted rates, go check out the Tabletop Entrepreneur Assistance Program we have at our website, also link in the description. We have mailing lists with over 2,000 contacts. We have SMS marketing, email marketing, in-person marketing. We run our own monthly events with over 100 attendees every single month. We do it on a monthly basis to promote board games. We also promote your game at places like Dice Tower East, Escape WinterCon, QuestCon, Caravan Convoy, stuff like that. We can get your games in the hands of multiple content creators all through us. So if you have any questions, make sure to go to the description, check all that stuff out. Let's get started. So we're going to be talking about the Ark Nova giveaway we just did. That had over 175 people enter. Now, in this data pool, we asked them, what are the reasons you buy your board games? Again, these people are entirely self-volunteered information. This one we talked about, what are the top reasons you buy board games? It was a checkbox system, so they could have checked as many things as they wanted. And the options were mechanics, ads, IP, influencer, price, designer, art, and referral. And I'm going to go into each one of those as we go down the system. But the most voted reason by far for why consumers buy their board games are mechanics. Out of 175 people who filled out the survey, 137 of them selected mechanics. That is 78% of people. Now, the reason that could be a lot of things. Sometimes people like games with multiple mechanics. Sometimes people like games with specific mechanics. For instance, I love a good tile placement game. I don't almost ever play games with hidden roll. We all kind of know what we like. I know a lot of people who like deck builders. They say that any game with a deck building system, they'll try at least once. So mechanics are a primary driver of why people buy board games. Next up, we have referral. Suggestions, recommendations from family, from friends, from whoever. That was selected by 110 people, which constitutes 62% of all people who filled out the survey. Now, that means that you have to create fans of your game. You can check that out by doing something called a Net Promoter Score. For people who actually have bought into your game, have seen your game, who have played your game, in your form that you have for feedback, how did you like the game? Did you love it? Did you hate it? How did you like this? How did you like that? People who really, really do like your game would promote your game. So that way you don't have to be the one doing every single direct sale. Like, hey, please buy my game. Hey, please buy my game. Hey, please buy my game. It goes by twice as fast if you have at least one other person saying, hey, you should buy this game. You should check out this game. We inherently trust ourselves, and then we inherently trust the people closest to us. If one of my friends says, hey, Daniel, I know you love creature collector games. This game has a good creature collector system. Just based on their suggestion, I will be more likely to play it and buy it than rather if I saw the game and went, I don't know. Now, even though it might have a creature collection system, which I'm fond of, I don't know if I would go out and buy it or look for a way to try it. But if he's like, hey, you should definitely check out this game, I would 100% put that on my list for the next convention or see what people have and see if I actually do need to go out and play it. So first up, we have mechanics. Next, we have referrals. Third up, we have the art. 77 people out of 175 selected art as a primary reason they buy their board games. That is 44% of people. Now again, that doesn't mean that just by having amazing art, you're going to get all these people. People sometimes like specific types of art. I know. I just pull out some games behind me real quick. If I grab, look at this, 2 very different games. I might grab 2 different entire art niches. So Arboretum is very beautiful, very tree-like, very arborful. All about trees, all about different types of trees and stuff like that. So if you like this art, you most likely might want to check out this game. Now, this is entirely different stuff. Radis Cardis. This is a very noble themed game. The art, as you can tell, is a lot like older times, medieval. So people who are into medieval, if this art speaks to people who are medieval, this isn't just like your typical medieval art, you'll get a lot of people who like medieval into these games. People don't understand that why board game publishers will spend thousands, I'm not joking, over $2,000 to $3,000 for the cover of their board game is how people impulse buy a lot of times. They'll say, that's a beautiful game, I have no idea if I'll play it, but I want it. Games like Wingspan, Wormspan, Waddle Waddle. I think that was all done by the same artist, actually. That type of art speaks to a lot of people. It's a very beautiful way of showing an animal. So if people like animals, if people like that art style, people are more likely to buy that game just based on the art style, even if the game is not typically something they would play. So that's 44% of people will use art as a primary reason to buy their board games. Next up, we have price. That is right next to art. Art's 77 people. Price is 74 people. That's 42% about. That is very important. Some games will cost way too much for what they're given. You definitely need to look into that as a designer, as a publisher. What should this game be charged for? If you're making a huge game with a million different pieces, you're making the next Twilight Imperium, be aware that's going to be a lot more expensive to make because it's going to have a lot bigger of a price point, about $100, $200, stuff like that. For instance, games like Dark Souls, the board game, that has a lot of pieces to make. So anyone who likes Dark Souls, but they're used to buying games for like 40 to 50 to 20 bucks to their PC gamers, they'll see that $100, $200 price point and be like, oof, no thanks. I was interested, but not at that price. Same thing happens for people who are interested in dice rollers. If your game's a bunch of just dice, like 10 different dice and like a couple cards, you're selling that game for 30, 40 bucks. People who might be interested with the mechanics of dice rolling will now say, yo, that's out of my budget. I don't know if I would spend like 30 bucks on just a couple dice. So be aware of what your price point is. Make sure it speaks to the people of the what you're trying to go after. And we'll talk all about how to market and sell more directly if you subscribe to this channel. Make sure to like this video if you like it so far. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more data points like this. I'm going to be doing this on a more monthly or weekly system. I definitely need to make more videos, so that will be on the top of my list. And then make sure to comment if you have any questions about what I do and what we're doing over here. Next up, we have the designer. The designer was actually one of the surprising results for me. The designer had 61 people said that they will buy it because of the designer. That means 34%. That's a much larger point than I thought it would be. But again, if you're a hardcore gamer like me, I don't consider myself that hardcore of a gamer, but it's my full-time job, so it better be. If I see any game with Eric Lang on it, I didn't even know some of my favorite games were Eric Lang until someone commented, oh, this is a guy that does Blood Rage. I'm like, yo, so he's done blank, 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 and blank? I'm sold. For instance, I just bought XCOM, the board game. I didn't even know it was by Eric Lang. I'm a video game IP junkie. And I found out it was by Eric Lang. I instantly knew it was going to be a better game. I'm more excited to play it than if it wasn't Eric Lang. Additionally, if there's a game by Eric Lang, to be fully honest, I trust what he makes, and I'd be one to play it even if I typically don't like the system. Even if it was like Hidden Roll or Social Deduction, I'd play it. Just to try it out at least once, because we have him under the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of other people feel the same way. Next up, and this is surprisingly lower than I thought, but I'm glad I'm not alone, we have IP, intellectual property, at 50 people. That's 28% of the people will buy games because of the IP. Now, 28% is lower than I thought it'd be, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. I chase IPs. Anything with a Sonic theme, video game theme whatsoever, I will be the first one on deck. If it's a book series I like, I'll be on there, but that's not very popular. If the property, like if there's a Pokemon game, I'll play any Pokemon game. Any kind of anime game, any kind of video game, I will play without question. I don't care if I like the genre, I don't care if I like the mechanics, I don't care about anything else. IP is the most important reason that I buy board games, to be honest. It's the only genre that I will say I'm a collector of. I don't like collecting board games. Like all this stuff I have is to sell. There's literally hundreds more that you can't see. They're off frame. I try to clean it up a bit. Video game board games are the only ones I'm fine sitting new and shrink. Like the Uncharted board game, if I never touch my copy, I never touch my copy, no big deal. And I'm actually happy to have had it. So IP is not as big of a reason as you think. Next up, we have influencer. Influencer is funny because that's actually one of the lowest rated ones. Second lowest rated here. Only 45 people said that they would buy board games based off if an influencer suggests it. Now, it's still not low. It's still about 25% of people, but it is not nearly as high as it might be considering the fact the amount of money that people put into the stuff. Which is why if you spend money with us to get to influencers, you're mainly paying, to be honest, your time. Because I can drop one email right now, ship 5 games out with ease. An influence might be a lower reason, but it's still good to get the word out there, to get your game known, shown, and just have it talk to people's mouths. It's never bad for people to know about your game, whether they have a good opinion or a bad opinion. Even if it's a bad opinion, it's better that it's around, it's talked about, it's social, and stuff like that. The least reason people say they buy board games. Now, however, again, this is what people are self-reporting. It's not actually what has been tested in the field necessarily, are ads. Only 10 per people self-report saying they'll buy a game based on ads. I am very stingy with my money, so I actually have turned off the notion of ads entirely in my brain. I know a lot of other people have as well. Money is very tight. 2024 is the first year I'm in some group chats for convention organizers and for some other people in the industry, and we've all talked about this. You're like, yo, have you guys noticed drops in your sales significantly? And a lot of people have. Now, the breakdown is the easy part. It's how you're going to utilize that breakdown. if you put this together in the sense of the voice your game has independently, your game is the most important part of the sale. I know people say that, so people say like, oh, you can put $50,000 on a bad game and make 100K. That's if your marketing is stellar, perfect, which if you're doing this as a self-publisher, that's not going to be like that, most likely your first time around. So the art mechanics combined for the game, which is the game speaking for itself, is 214 versus people speaking about the game and the other people, your net promoters promoting your game, is at 155. That even with the combination of all the metrics of referral and influencers and ads, it's significantly lower than if you were to just do the mechanics and the art combined. Additionally, the price, if you include the price in there, I didn't even do that, but that blows out of the water. That's almost 300 points versus like 150. The most important thing is the game has to speak for itself. The game needs to sell itself. If you have to sell the game, that means you're a good salesman more than the game is a good game. Fantastic games will always sell themselves. Now, it does help with more people knowing about it, more people posting about it, so that's why money kind of greases the wheels. But the way we always say it in the industry of marketing entirely, I've heard it both ways between one is the fire, one is the gasoline. I like to say the product is the gasoline, marketing is just a fire. Okay? The more fire you add to it, it could blow up. However, it's a bad product, it'll be gone in a second. No matter how much marketing you put on there, bad games will not survive too long. However, if it's a great game, you have a ton of gasoline, even adding a little bit of fire to it, you're gonna get exponential results, okay? I would much rather have a great product and like $1,000 in marketing rather than having 50K for marketing for a bad product. Because honestly, you have to be proud of what you're selling anyways. You have to be proud of what you created. You have to be proud of what you do. Everything in your life should be your absolute best. You should never just do it just because. How can you get your game to speak for itself in various ways? It's not too difficult. Play for your customer to win, okay? Always play. Even when I do my marketing, I play for the client to win. My success isn't just getting money, okay? I need money to survive, but that's not where it ends. My job is to make sure that you have a successful experience. So if you give me like, let's say $100 and you're like, oh, I want content creators. If I only send it to one of them who doesn't do anything with it, technically I fulfilled my contract, but that's not gonna make you happy and you're not gonna come back. You're not gonna tell people about me. That's not smart. I want to get a bunch of people to talk about you. So I'm gonna send it to the 3 or 4 people I know that's gonna be specifically tailored for that product. I'm going to make sure they post about it in a set time frame because I know you want your game to be talked about. I want your game to be talked about. We want the same thing because we both want you to win. You should have the same way when you're selling board games. You should not just make a game and be like, yes, I sold it. That's what happens in a lot of Kickstarters. They say, yes, we sold it, we made the money, moving on. You have to consider their experience. We have their money, how fast can I get the game to them? What's the biggest quality of life improvement we can do? What do they want right now? A lot of designers, they're like, oh, I don't actually have any good news, so I'm not gonna tell them anything. That's horrible. Even if it's bad news, stay in contact at least once a month when you're doing Kickstarter fulfillment. If it ever goes past 1 month, they're gonna start saying scam. It's one of those things. Always address everything. Have an open and active community audience. I suggest doing a Facebook group. That's one of the best ones, if not the best to do for, at least in this industry that I've seen personally. Discord's okay, but honestly, most people I know are on Facebook for Tabletop, which is why we have so many Facebook groups and such a Facebook focus, which sucks because there's other ways to get to people, but the best one by far has been Facebook. We'll talk about the best way to reach a customer in another video. Make sure to subscribe if you liked what you heard. Make sure to leave a comment if you have any questions you want to talk about. Those Caravan Dan or Caravanual Daniel from Gaming Caravan signing off. Peace, have a great day. God bless. I'll catch you guys later.